What's up, everyone? I'm CL Connolly, and today I'm going to talk about copyright. I have a copyright certificate for every single one of my books that I have published. I have made sure to get a copyright certificate for every single one of my books. So all of my books that I have published, all 10 of them, have a copyright certificate. Now, I have heard the whole thing about as soon as it's written, it's copyrighted. I get that. You have timestamps on your computers, things like that. That happens. Okay. So yes, it is copyrighted to you. You own it the second you write it. So as soon as it's on your computer, it's owned by you. My problem is that I want to be covered just in case something were to happen. So in this sense, this shows that I own everything to my book. I own all of it. I own the movie rights. I own the ebook rights. I own the novel rights. You cannot plagiarize my book. You cannot turn it into a movie unless you come to me and purchase those rights. I own everything to my book, and that's exactly what this shows. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm covering me, because if at some point someone reads my book, because I come into contact with a lot of indie artists is what I'm going to say. So like you'll see people who do indie movies and stuff like that, especially at these conventions and things. Houston Horror Film Fest actually has a lot of indie filmmakers and stuff like that. So I've come into contact with them. I have sold some of them my books. And, you know, they've talked about possibly getting together to make them into movies and things like that. And I know that they're busy, so if it takes years before they actually get to that point, that's fine. But my thing is, though, is that this covers me, so they can't just do that without coming to me first and wanting to turn it into a movie. The whole idea itself, basically, not that it belongs to me, but if it's close enough to what I've done, I actually have the rights to say, hey, you can't do that, right? So that's essentially covering me. Yes, I will say it. Originally, it was $35. My very first copyright certificate, $35. That's all it cost. Great, right? Okay, fine. But then as the years went on, so did the price. More and more. Every single one of these, I don't know what's on the back of that. It's just a date. But every single time one more got published, yep, the price went up. It is now $65 to file for copyright, which I don't care. I really don't care. I will pay that price, even if it's $150 for me to, please God, if the Copyright Office sees this, please do not do that. But my thing is that because I own the rights to my books, everything about them is mine. It's covering my ass if someone decides that they want to do something, you know, awful with it. Because I have seen some videos where I watched this one woman do a video where an author had actually decided that she was going to write a book. It was in the like early 2010s. I think it was published in 2011, something like that. So she wrote this entire book series. And of course it was amazing and it got great reviews and everything was awesome. The problem is though, is that someone ended up reading that series and figuring out that, sorry, this book is almost identical to something that was published in the 90s. Like the whole series was almost identical to something that was published in the 90s. So the only thing that had changed was character names, jobs, and a little bit of dialogue. Other than that, the entire story was exactly the same. So as I'm watching this video of this other creator, I was like, okay, first of all, that sounds like plagiarism, but if it's not word for word, then it's not plagiarism, unfortunately, is how that works. But essentially, it ended up being plagiarism, yes, and all of her books had to be taken down, and anything that she made off of those books had to be given to the person who originally published those books back in the 90s. So there is that. You can't just steal someone's idea and think, oh, well, I'm just going to write this same book. This is why the whole AI thing really pisses me off, because there are authors out there that own copyright, like legit copyright. And someone has decided, oh, well, you know what? Let's do AI, and here's the idea. And because AI has access, because the guy who did it has access to all of these books that have all been published, they can actually end up publishing an identical book to one that is already published, because the guy who created it took books from actual published authors to essentially create the voice in AI. So when it pops up on your screen, you have no idea what you've written because you didn't write it. You allowed a computer program to do that, and it's not okay. Copyright actually protects me from anyone trying to steal what I have created. That is why I will always file for copyright. You can't just assume that, oh, I have timestamps on my computer that shows that when I first created this book, and I have timestamps on my computer that show when I did this or when I did this, when I did that. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because technically, if you can show what was on your computer, well, you know, that doesn't mean anything. What if this person was already writing it before then? My copyright certificate actually has the date of when it was published. So it knows exactly what year I published each one of these books. So that is the one thing that I have. Because if they have, oh, well, I saw this book, blah, 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 nobody's going to notice if I do it, 10 years later, like Friendly Misfortunes is 10 years old. I don't think I have a month on here. Oh, I do. May. Okay, so May 2014, it will be 10 years that Friendly Misfortunes has been published. So, and Forbidden Affair was 10 years in 2022. Because that one was published in 2012. So my thing is that if someone's thinking, oh, it's been 10 years, nobody's going to notice if I do something similar to it. Technically, if you file the copyright in 2024, or your computer, or, you don't file copyright for it, your computer shows timestamps, this, that, everything else, and it shows that it's 10 years after my copyright certificate, my very official copyright certificate has come through, that's on you, guy. I could literally ruin anything that you do because of that copyright certificate. And that is the point. You're not going to steal from me. I do not want anyone to steal from me. It is not okay. I don't appreciate it. And I am very untrusting to anything and everything that has to do, like if, I have to put it this way, okay? I do not have what some authors have, like the critique partner, which is another author to read your book and give you a critique of the writing and things like that. I don't have one of those. And there's a reason for that. And mostly because of the fact that if I can't guarantee that you're not going to steal my shit, I won't let you read it until I have my copyright certificate in my hand. Like, it has to be the official copyright certificate. I don't know if that's going to focus. There you go. The official registration of the copyright certificate. There's a bunch of numbers and stuff on there that are specific to me. But if this right here shows that if I don't have that yet, I'm just going to assume that people are going to steal it from me. That's why a lot of the books and stuff that I have on my list of things that I'm writing or editing or anything like that, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you exactly what these books are about. Some of them I don't even want to tell what some of them I don't even tell what the titles are. So I have a list of 12 books that I will be publishing one a month in 2030. They're holiday books. That's all I'm going to put. That's all I'm going to say. They're holiday books. It's for one holiday each month. The only month that doesn't have an official holiday is August. So I used it as an anniversary. And that's it. Like a wedding anniversary. But that's all the information I've given. Everything else is every holiday in the United States. Let me put it that way. There is a holiday every single month in the United States. Most of them are federal holidays. Some of them are just, holidays that nobody really cares about. Unless you are affected by it, I guess you could say. I don't really know. I don't know. Like, I look at Labor Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, things like that. I know what they're for, and we celebrate them with my dad because my dad's, was a Marine in the 70s. Yeah, in the 70s. So we celebrate those. So I know what they're for, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Easter, okay? I know what Easter's for. I know exactly what Easter is for. We don't really do anything for Easter, especially since my son's moved out. We don't do anything for Easter. That's his turn. Now he gets to do things for Easter. That's just how I see some of these holidays. It's like they don't directly, I don't want to get hate for not saying that Easter doesn't directly affect me, but in a way, I don't know. I celebrate it in different ways. Let me put it that way. I celebrate it in different ways. It has nothing to do with some giant Easter bunny and hiding eggs all over my property. Anyway, so that's my point. That's about as much information as I'm giving for those books. I also have an entire list of books. On every single one of these post-it notes is a different book. Okay? Every single one of these post-it notes has a different book on it, whether or not I'm editing, writing, doing the beta reader edits, whatever. That's for just this year. That's what I'm doing this year. And so far I've been able to stay on track. So I have stayed on track. What I planned to do in January, done. What I planned to do in February, done. What I plan to do in March, which is editing Roadkill Cafe, and I've been talking about that one since 2022 when I wrote it. But what I planned on, I'm editing Roadkill Cafe right now. That is almost done. That should be done next week. This week. That should be done this week. So, essentially, here's the deal. If I don't have a copyright certificate in my hand, I am not going to give away what I'm writing. I'm just not. And I can't trust that another author isn't going to go, oh, I bet you I could make this way better than what they're doing. And they essentially take what I've given them and just make their own edits on it. Now it belongs to them because they're going to get it published before I do. That's not fair. So that is my thing. I have the few beta readers that I have. There's 5 of them. I have the few beta readers that I have. They are just avid readers and they're happy to get free books at the end. So that is my whole thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do not trust this, oh, but you own the copyright. The second you put the words down on the page, blah, blah, blah. No. Make the investment to file for copyright through the Copyright Office. Make yourself an account. Get on there. Yes, it's annoying because every 30 days, I think it's like 60 days now. Every 60 days, 70 days. It used to be every 6 months. Then it turned into every 90 days. I think now it's like every 60 days. You have to change the password. And the password went from something simple to now it's like 16 letters, symbols, capitals, numbers. Oh my gosh. It's ridiculous and I hate it. I actually have to have a list of what I want to put down before I change the copyright password. I have to have a list of, I'm like, okay, who the hell files for copyright this many times in a year? I mean, I'm just saying. So anyway, make the investment. File for copyright for anything that you do. You can do it for artwork. If you have a piece of art, now granted my son did that in junior high, but I'm just saying, if you have a piece of artwork and it's digital, you can actually file for copyright on that. You could really do that and it's okay. That means that you own it and nobody can reproduce that art. It belongs to you. So movies file for copyright. I mean, that's the whole thing. And let me tell you, it's way better to know that this piece of paper covers your ass in all aspects of everything that happens to what you have worked so hard on, rather than just hoping for the best if something were to come up. That's just how it is. I'm not very trusting because I'm not going to say that it's bad, but it was at one point. I grew up in Houston. So thievery is rampant everywhere around there. And that is one of the biggest issues. And the further out you get, the less it is, but it's not always that much. Like literally, there's a small town right out here near I-10 that's about 30 minutes, 35 minutes from here. Sometimes we go over there and we go shopping. But there was a thief who was going all the way along I-10 and they were robbing H-E-B stores. There's an H-E-B right there along I-10 in that town. And sure enough, that H-E-B got hit. Now, it's a small H-E-B. Like, there's no pharmacy in it. You have to go to the Walmart next door. That's attached to the same building. But I'm just saying, still, he came along, the thief came along I-10. Luckily, though, by the time he made it to that town, somebody had actually, the cops were on his trail and they knew exactly what he was doing, so they ended up catching him. But that's not the point. The point is there are thieves everywhere and they will steal whatever they can. It doesn't matter what it is. Money, copyrights, the rights to anything, they'll steal it. So make sure that you own it. So if you have to take them to court, you have the proper paperwork to be like, bitch, I own this and it's mine and you can't do that. So you want to be properly compensated? Cover your ass. That's just how that works. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I will see you on Thursday with a new video. And you can like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't give a shit. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just here rambling, talking about all the shit that happens in my life. You can also follow me on all the other social media platforms, including TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X, Twitter. I don't know. And that's it. Okay, bye!